that is available for removal. So whenever you want to remove it, whenever we want to remove a node from the complete binary tree, the rightmost leaf node will be removed. So in this case, the rightmost leaf node is having a value of 20. So that means when you move from the left figure to the right figure, you can see that 20 has disappeared. The whole of 20 has disappeared. And actually, we have removed 3 from the root and try to replace 20 in that place. So let's move on. So what we find is when you compare 20 against the two children, and the two children are 7 and 8, 7 being the smallest of the two children, then what I will do is I will shift 7 to place it in the root node and 20 will come down. Is the heap order property still being violated? Yes, the heap order property is being still violated because I will compare 20 against 9 and 16, and I see that out of these two children of 20, 9 is having the smallest value. So what I will do is 9 goes up, 20 comes down. So let's look at the next slide. So you can see here 9 goes up, 20 comes down. Is still 20 violating the heap order property? Yes, that means I haven't yet found the correct position of 20. So 20 will be compared against 17 and 18. When you compare 17 and 18, you see that 17 and 18, 17 being the smaller one, this 17 will be compared then against 20. So 20 goes down, 17 comes up. So look at the next diagram. This is our working of delete minimum. So this is the uh, final, or this is the final updated priority queue. So we can see now we have elements 7, 9, 8, 17, 16, 14, 10, 20, and 18. So 3 was replaced by 20, and then we kept on looking whether is this the correct position of 20? Is this the correct bubble for 20? When we learned that the 20 keeps on violating the heap order property, I have to shift it downwards. So you kept on shifting 20 downwards until you found its correct location. Once you find its correct location, then there is no more change or there's no more violation in the heap order property. We are done and we have updated our priority queue. So you can see this diagram, the final priority queue, and then what will be the time complexity of this delete minimum? The delete minimum's complete time complexity is big O of height of the binary tree, right? So the binary tree's height is log of n. So we found that we have studied how insert works and how delete minimum works. And each of these two operations is upper bounded by big O of log of n. I'm hopeful that you guys have, with this illustration, you guys have been able to understand the working of delete minimum. So let's move on and uh, look at the next operation. This strategy is basically called percolate down, which is the counterpart of percolate up that we studied for insertion. So please go through the source code yourself, all of you. You are supposed to go through the source code yourself, which is quite simple now because we have been discussing source codes for the last 5 chapters. Now it's your responsibility to look at the source code yourself. So let's move on. What are the other heap operations? So these are some other heap operations. Number one, decrease the key. So decrease key, if I'm interested in making a program which is running on the operating system to run with the highest priority. So now we are looking at the description of these other heap operations in the context of the operating system. So if you are interested in making a program to run with the highest priority, what should we do? I will need to decrease its key value, the key value, right? So the key values which are stored in a priority queue, if you invoke this function decrease key in your program, p comma delta comma h, this operation will lower the value of the key at position p by a positive amount, right? So for example, if I have a number 7 and I want to decrease its key value, so I need to inform this function about the position of 7, number 1, then the amount with which you want to reduce its value, right? And then h is obviously my priority queue or my heap. So if the heap order is violated, fix it by a percolate up. So when you will decrease the value of a certain key, you may need to percolate up if the heap order property is being violated. So this operation is quite helpful for the system administrators. Here we mean by the system administrators, we mean those people who are looking after your network. They can make the programs run with the highest priority, right? And if you're talking about an individual computer, a system administrator is a person who is operating the operating system, who's working with the operating system. So this is quite helpful when when you increase the priority of your program, actually you would be able to remove it from the queue with the help of a delete minimum operation. So let's move on to the next heap operation. Increase the key. The increase key operation will allow many schedulers of the operating system to automatically drop the priority of a process that is consuming excessive CPU time. So you may have encountered such situation when a process or a task becomes unresponsive, right? When it does not respond, so what we need to do is we can drop the priority of such a process that is consuming too much amount of time of your processor, microprocessor. The increase key function has three parameters: p, the position where your key is located, comma, delta, the positive amount with which you want to change the key value, and h is the heap. So you may have multiple heaps being implemented on your system. So the operating system may be at a time may be working with multiple heaps. So you have to define the heap number as well. So the increase key p comma delta comma h operation will increase the value of the key at a certain position by a positive amount delta. What will happen? This will allow your key to percolate down. So its priority will simply drop. You're decreasing its priority. By increasing the key value, you are dropping the priority value of the process. Finally, we got another function called delete. So when a process is terminated by a user abnormally, right? When we intentionally kill a process, right, abnormally, that means the process didn't finish normally, I can use control, delete, and then you press the keys. With the help of these three keys, you can kill your process, right? So when a process is terminated by a user abnormally, it must be removed from the priority queue by using the delete p comma h. So when your process is not responding, you may want to delete it immediately. So when you want to immediately delete it, I may press Control Alt Delete. When you press these three keys on the keyboard simultaneously, then Windows will allow you to kill your task or your process by by selecting it. You can kill it directly, right, in the task manager. So actually when you are executing this and in the task manager, when you select it, the task manager or the scheduler of the operating system will execute or it will invoke this delete function, right? So how can we implement a delete function? So delete will be a combination of decrease key and delete minimum. So decrease key P, the position will be specified in the priority queue of the task or the process, comma infinity. So you are reducing its value by infinity, comma h, the name of the heap. So as soon as you reduce the value by infinity, that means what will happen? This task that you want to kill will be located at the root node. So once its key value is reduced to such an extent, it will be located at the root. And then you can call the delete minimum function and get rid of the task or the process. So basically, whenever we select on our Windows system, whenever we open the task manager, select a certain process and you select it and then you end it abnormally, basically this function is being invoked. So this is the usage of these three functions. Now let's move on to the next function, build heap. Build heap takes as input n keys and places them into an empty heap. So we can implement it through n successive inserts. So big O of 1 is the average of an insert value, and big log of n may be in the worst case, this is the time complexity of an insert. In the worst case. So if you have n keys and you invoke your insert function n number of times, so in the worst case scenario, this could have taken big O n log of n amount of time. So this is how we can create a new heap, a binary heap, a build heap, right? The function is called build, right? So let's move on. This is one of the strategies. However, the general algorithm is to place the n keys into the tree in any order, right? So if you have n number of keys and you want to construct a binary heap, simply what we will do is I will take those n number of keys and implement implement the breadth first order strategy to fill in my nodes from left to right, left level by level, that we studied earlier when we were discussing the structure property. When we were discussing the structure property, in the structure property, we learned that if you have a number of keys, let's say n, what you do is you simply place them starting from the root, then the left child of the root, then the right child of the root, then the left, right, and so on. So we keep on filling in our holes or our bubbles with these values, moving from or traversing from left to right level by level. So this is our first step. Once I have placed those n keys into the tree in any order, but I need to satisfy the complete binary tree structure. It should be satisfied, as I said earlier. So then what I will do is, I will start from n by 2 node number n by 2, and then I will start fulfilling the heap order property. Then I will move to the previous node. You will look at the heap order property, you will satisfy it, then you will move to the previous node. So starting from n divided by 2 node, I will go to the previous node, then the previous node, satisfy the heap order property at each node, and finally this process will continue until I arrive at the root. So this is how we can build a heap. Let's start with the example. So assume we have numbers 21, 65, 68, 31, 13, 24, 19, 14, 32, and 26. So we got 10 numbers, right? These 10 numbers were placed in a binary heap, maintaining the structure of a binary tree, complete binary tree. So I started with 21, then 65 becomes the left child of 21, 68 becomes the right child of 21, 31 is the next element, 13, 24, 19, 14, 32, 26. As from this diagram, you can see that the heap order property was not maintained in this step. Now in the second step, we will look for the heap order property, and we should start from node is equal to n over 2. So when n is 10, I will go to node number 5. So if you look at here, node number 5 is, at node number 1 is having the value 21, node number 2 is having the value 65, node 3 has 68, node 4 is 31, and node 5 is 13. So I will start at node number 13, which is node number 5, the fifth node of my binary heap. Now 13 will be compared against 26. Is the binary heap order property being violated? No, because 13 is smaller than 26. So since 13 is smaller than 26, our heap order property is not being violated. So what should I do? I will move to the previous node, node number 4. What is the value there? You can encounter the value 31 there in node number 4. Now when you look at node number 4, which is 31, the two children are 14 and 32, I see that the heap order property is being violated. Yes, it is being violated. Why? Why? Because if you look at the two children of 31, 14 is smaller than 32, and out of these two children, when you compare the smaller one against 31, you find that 14 should move up and 31 should come down. So when you move on to the next figure, follow the black colored arrow, move to the right hand side. When I go there, I can see that 14, 31, 32 have now been fixed, right? 14, 31, 32, the heap order property for this particular subtree is being fulfilled. So I will go to the previous node, that is node number 3. If you go to the previous node, you can find the value there is 68. When you find 68, compare 68 against 24 and 19. Is the heap order property being violated? Yes, the heap order property is being violated. What should I do then? Out of the two children, 19 is smaller, so 19 will be compared against 68. 19 should go up, 68 should come down. So if you follow the arrow on the right hand side, the lower figure, So we can see that 19, 24 and 68. Now the heap order property for this given subtree at node number 3 is being satisfied. So we found that at this point your heap order property is being satisfied. So from node number 4 I will move to the previous, from the node number 3 I will move to the previous node, that is node number 3. So node number 3, when you look at node number 3, sorry, node number 2, so when you go to node number 2, I find 65 there. 65 compared against the two children, 13 and 14, is the heap order property being violated? Yes, it is being violated. So since it's being violated, what should happen? 13 being the smallest out of the two children, 13 goes up, 65 comes down. So when you move 13 up, 65 comes here. What happens next? I find that 65 and 26. 26 should come up and 65 should become a leaf node. So I have swapped them too. These two values have been swapped. So at node number 2, finally we find that the heap order property is being fulfilled. Once I have satisfied the property at node number 2, then I will finally evaluate, is the property being satisfied at node number 1, that is having a value 21. So look at node number 1, the root node. 21, 13, 19. Out of the two children, 13 and 19, I see that 13 is the smaller one. So 13 should go up and 21 should come down. But when you move 21 to the place of 13, is the heap order property once again being violated? Yes, it is being violated. So what I need to do is 40 needs to come up, 21 will go down in the place of 40. So look at the last diagram of the priority queue. This is the latest version of it and it has been updated now. It is now it's a complete binary tree which also satisfies the heap order property. So each node is satisfying the heap order property. So we started with node number 5, then the previous node, that was node number 4. You will satisfy heap order property there, then you move back and you go to node number 3. If the heap order property is being violated, satisfy it there, move to the previous node. So you keep on moving to the previous node until we arrive at the root. Once you reach at the root node, you will still see if it's being violated, you keep on satisfying the heap order property. So until for each node the heap order property is being satisfied. So this is our final priority queue. Now let's move on to the applications of priority queues. This is the last article of the chapter. So we have already mentioned how priority queues are used in operating systems design. In chapter 9, we will see how priority queues are used to implement several graph algorithms. Here we will show how to use priority queues to obtain solutions to two problems. So the selection problem. The selection problem was discussed in chapter number 1. So what was the problem? The problem statement was, given a list of n numbers, determine the kth largest, where k is less than or equal to n. So this is the statement of the selection problem. So we can implement it like this: read n numbers into an array sort the array in decreasing order by some simple algorithm, return the element in position k. So this algorithm was upper bounded by n squared. This is what we learned from chapter number 1. The second algorithm that we studied was this: read the first k elements into an array, sort them in decreasing order, for each remaining element that I will read one by one. If smaller than the kth element, then it is ignored. Otherwise, it is placed in its correct spot in the array, bumping one element out of the array. The element in the kth position will return the answer. This is the algorithm that we also studied in chapter 1. So these two algorithms were studied in chapter number 1. Let's move on. Now, the algorithm. So if I'm interested in finding the kth smallest element, what should I do? I will read my n elements into an array. Then I will apply the build heap algorithm that we have just studied. Perform k delete minimum operations. The last element extracted from the heap is your answer. So things have become very simple here. It should be clear that by changing the heap order property, we could solve the original problem of finding the kth largest element. So if I can have a minimum binary heap, I can also have a maximum binary heap, right? In the maximum binary heap, the maximum element would be located at the root node. For a minimum binary heap, the minimum element was positioned at the root node. For the maximum binary heap, we can find the largest element at the root. And if you are interested in finding the kth largest element, then I have to change the heap order property. Instead of having the smallest as the parent, we will have the largest as the parent. And finally, the largest element of our n numbers will be located at the root node. So the counterpart of delete minimum would be delete maximum operation. So we can have a maximum binary heap where we can have insertion as we do have for the minimum binary heap. Now, for a maximum binary heap, instead of having delete minimum operation, we will implement a delete maximum operation. So what will be the running cost? Big O n log of n to construct the heap, and big O log of n for each delete minimum, right? So this turns out to be n log of n plus, when you perform k delete minimum operation, this is going to give you k log of n. And out of these two values, n is greater than k, so finally this is n log of n. So if you look at the previous two solutions, big O n square, each was upper bounded by big O n square. And now with the introduction of priority queues, the same problem can be solved within this time, big O n log of time. So the time complexity has been reduced significantly for this given problem, selection problem. So another solution is find the kth largest element, maintain a set of the k largest elements. After k elements are read, when a new element is read, it is compared with the kth largest element, that's denoted by Sk. Notice that Sk is the smallest element in S. If the new element is larger than it, replaces Sk. S will then have a new smallest element, which may or may not be the newly added element. At the end of the input, we will find the smallest element in S and return it as the answer. So this is another way of finding the kth largest element. So we can use a maximum binary heap to implement our S. So big O k to build heap with k elements, big O of 1 to compare the remaining elements, big O log of k to delete and insert if necessary, and finally big O, when you combine all these time complexities together, big O k plus n minus k log of k, and this turns out to be big O n log of k, right? So even this solution is, you can see the time complexity has been further reduced. For the previous solution, the time complexity was big O n log of n, which has been reduced to big O n log of k with this given solution. So this is the summary of the chapter. We have seen various implementations and uses of priority queue ADT. The standard binary heap implementation is quite elegant because of its simplicity and speed, as it does not require us to manipulate the pointers.